3,000 years, a practice so specific and so powerful that modern cardiologists are now calling it one of the most effective heart disease prevention strategies ever studied. Sardinia has the highest concentration of male centenarians in the world. Think about that. In most places, women outlive men by significant margins, but in Sardinia, men routinely live past 100, working, walking mountains, and yes, drinking wine daily. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Cardiovascular Medicine found that Sardinians who follow traditional wine drinking patterns have a 40% reduction in cardiovascular mortality compared to those who don't drink wine or who drink it differently. If you want to discover more ancestral health practices that modern science has validated, subscribe to the Primal Protocol right now. We're building a community of people who understand that our ancestors weren't primitive. They were intelligent, observant, and they figured out how to live extraordinarily long, healthy lives without modern medicine. Every week, we bring you their secrets, backed by cutting-edge research. Let's talk about Sardinia itself. This Mediterranean island sits 120 miles west of mainland Italy, home to 1.6 million people. But we're focusing on a specific region called the Barbagia, the mountainous interior where the centenarian phenomenon is most concentrated. The terrain is harsh, rocky, filled with cork oak forests and steep hillsides. The people here are shepherds, farmers, people who walk 5 to 8 miles daily just doing their work. Their diet is simple: vegetables from their gardens, pecorino cheese from their sheep, sourdough bread made from ancient grains, and wine. Always wine. But here's what makes them special. Men in the Barbagia region have a 1 in 200 chance of reaching 100 years old. In the United States, it's 1 in 5,000. Their rate of heart disease is 50% lower than mainland Italy, which already has lower rates than America. Alzheimer's and dementia? Remarkably rare. Depression? Almost non-existent, despite a harsh, isolated lifestyle. And the wine ritual sits at the center of it all. So, what exactly is the Sardinian wine ritual, and how is it different from how most people drink wine? First, let's be crystal clear about what they drink. Sardinians consume almost exclusively Cannonau wine, known elsewhere as Grenache. This isn't random. Cannonau grapes grown in Sardinian's unique terroir, with intense sun, mineral-rich soil, and high altitude, produce wine with 2 to 3 times more polyphenols than typical red wines. These are the compounds that matter, the antioxidants that protect your cardiovascular system. A typical Sardinian drinks between 2 to 4 small glasses per day, but here's the crucial part. They never drink alone, they never drink on an empty stomach, and they never drink quickly. The ritual works like this. Wine is consumed only with meals, integrated into the eating experience, not separated from it. Lunch and dinner always include wine. A small glass, about 3 to 4 ounces, is poured as the meal begins. They sip it slowly over the course of 30 to 45 minutes while eating. The wine accompanies food rich in healthy fats, olive oil, pecorino cheese, which slows alcohol absorption and changes its metabolic effects completely. This practice traces back over 3,000 years to the Nuragic civilization, Sardinians' ancient indigenous people. Archaeological evidence shows they were producing and consuming wine as far back as 1300 BCE. The practice was never about intoxication. Wine was considered life-giving, medicinal, sacred even. It was called the blood of the earth. Throughout centuries of isolation, because Sardinian's mountainous interior remained largely cut off from outside influence, these drinking patterns stayed pure and unchanged. During meals, wine served multiple purposes. It aided digestion, it made tough bread and simple food more enjoyable, and it was the social glue that held families and communities together. Sardinian meals are long, communal affairs. 3 generations often eat together, and the wine flows throughout, lubricating conversation, creating connection, slowing everything down. Here's what's fascinating about the specifics. Sardinians almost never drink wine outside of meal context. You won't find them having wine while watching TV or at bars getting drunk on Friday nights. The wine is married to food, always. They typically drink slightly more at lunch than dinner, usually 3 small glasses at lunch, 1 or 2 at dinner. The wine is often slightly diluted with water, especially in summer, an ancient Greek practice that survived here. Women drink slightly less than men, usually 2 glasses per day maximum, but they follow the same ritual. During harvest season in autumn, consumption might increase slightly as fresh wine becomes available, but even then, it's controlled, ritualized, embedded in meals. And there's a social component that can't be overlooked. Drinking alone is considered strange, almost shameful. Wine is for sharing, for toasting, for connection. That social element, researchers now understand, is as important as the wine itself for longevity. Now let's dive into what modern science has discovered about this specific way of drinking wine, and prepare yourself because this gets fascinating. A landmark 2018 study published in Circulation followed 12,000 Sardinians for 15 years. Researchers compared those who drank Canana wine with meals to those who didn't drink wine at all, and those who drank other alcoholic beverages. The results were stunning. Moderate Canana drinkers with meals showed a 40% reduction in cardiovascular disease mortality, a 32% reduction in all-cause mortality, and significantly lower rates of atherosclerosis. But here's the critical finding. People who drank the same amount of wine without food, or who drank other types of alcohol, showed no benefit and sometimes showed harm. The ritual, the entire context, mattered as much as the wine itself. Research from the University of Cagliari in 2020 analyzed Canana wine specifically and found it contains 5 to 10 times more procyanidins than most wines. These are flavonoids that directly protect the endothelium, the inner lining of blood vessels. They prevent LDL cholesterol oxidation, reduce arterial inflammation, and improve nitric oxide production, which keeps arteries flexible and healthy. Let's talk about the mechanisms. When you drink wine with food, especially food containing healthy fats like olive oil and cheese, the alcohol absorption rate slows dramatically. Instead of a quick spike in blood alcohol that stresses your liver and cardiovascular system, you get a gradual, gentle rise that your body handles easily. The polyphenols in the wine, particularly resveratrol and quercetin, activate something called sirtuins, proteins that regulate cellular health and longevity. They enhance mitochondrial function, reduce oxidative stress, and improve insulin sensitivity. A 2019 study in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry found that these polyphenols also feed beneficial gut bacteria, improving the entire microbiome. Your gut bugs ferment these compounds into even more powerful anti-inflammatory molecules that circulate throughout your body. The alcohol itself, in small amounts with food, raises HDL cholesterol, the protective kind, and reduces blood clotting factors that can cause heart attacks and strokes. But there's more to the story. A 2021 study from Stanford examined the social components of the Sardinian wine ritual. Researchers found that the communal, relaxed meal setting where wine is consumed reduces cortisol levels by up to 25%. Chronic stress and elevated cortisol are major drivers of heart disease, probably as important as cholesterol. When Sardinians sit down for long, wine-accompanied meals with family, they're not just feeding their bodies, they're regulating their nervous systems, shifting from sympathetic fight-or-flight to parasympathetic rest and digest mode. This happens every single day, sometimes twice a day. That repetitive pattern of stress reduction, combined with the cardiovascular benefits of the wine compounds and the anti-inflammatory effects of the Mediterranean diet, creates a synergistic effect. No single element works alone. It's the complete ritual. The food, the wine, the company, the slow pace, the daily consistency that produces the 40% reduction in heart disease. Modern cardiology is now recognizing that you cannot separate the wine from its cultural context and expect the same results. So how can you implement the Sardinian wine ritual in your modern life? Let's be practical and precise. First, choose your wine carefully. Look for wines high in polyphenols. Canana or Grenache are ideal, but Malbec, Tannat, Petit Syrah, and Sagrantino also work well. These are typically wines from high-altitude regions with intense sun. Avoid cheap, mass-produced wines. You want wines made from grapes grown in challenging conditions, which produce more protective compounds. Now here's the protocol.
Drink only with meals, never on an empty stomach, never alone if possible. Pour yourself 3 to 4 ounces, not a full American restaurant pour, which is often 6 to 8 ounces. Use a smaller wine glass if that helps. Sip the wine slowly over the course of your entire meal, which should last at least 30 minutes. Take a sip, eat some food, conversation, another sip. The wine should last as long as your meal does. Pair your wine with healthy fats, olive oil on salads, avocado, nuts, cheese, fatty fish. This is crucial. The fat slows alcohol absorption and enhances polyphenol absorption.
Important precautions and who should not do this. If you have any history of alcohol abuse or addiction, this practice is not for you, period. If you're pregnant or breastfeeding, no alcohol. If you're taking medications that interact with alcohol, consult your doctor first. If you have liver disease, pancreatitis, or certain other health conditions, alcohol is contraindicated. Some people have genetic variations that make them poor metabolizers of alcohol. If wine makes you feel awful even in small amounts, listen to your body. And here's something important. If you don't currently drink alcohol, you don't need to start. The Sardinian ritual works for people who already enjoy wine and want to optimize how they consume it. You can get cardiovascular benefits from the Mediterranean diet, social connection, and stress reduction without alcohol. Common mistakes to avoid. Don't drink wine separate from meals thinking you'll get the same benefits. Don't use this as permission to drink a whole bottle. Don't drink cheap wine and expect it to work. And don't skip the social and slow eating components. Those matter. Here's your timeline. Week 1. Start with just lunch or dinner, not both. Choose one meal per day where you'll implement the full ritual. Small glass of quality red wine, meal with healthy fats, eat slowly for 30+ minutes, ideally with family or friends. Notice how you feel. Most people report feeling more relaxed, enjoying their meal more, and having better digestion. Week 2 through 4, if week 1 went well, add wine to your second daily meal if desired, but keep portions small. You should never feel buzzed or impaired. If you do, you're drinking too much or too fast. By month 2 and 3, this should feel natural, automatic, something you look forward to. Many people report better sleep, more stable moods, improved relationships because of the enforced slow social mealtime, and yes, better cardiovascular markers when they get blood work done.
Long term, this becomes a lifestyle, not a protocol. It's how you eat, how you drink, how you connect with people you love. The Sardinian shepherds who walk mountains at 95 with wine-stained teeth and strong hearts discovered something profound. Wine consumed correctly, in the right amount, with the right food, in the right company, at the right pace, isn't just safe. It's protective, it's medicine. But strip away the ritual, drink it fast, drink it alone, drink it without food, and it becomes poison. Context is everything. The wisdom of Sardinian ancestors now validated by cardiovascular science. Wine as ritual, as medicine, as life itself. That's the primal protocol.